National Guard of Ukraine is a military formation with law enforcement functions, which is an effective and essential element of the security and defense sector of Ukraine. The National Guard is subordinated to the Ministry of Internal Affairs. It consists of main headquarters located in Kiev, 6 territorial commands: Northern Kiev, Southern Odessa, Eastern Kharkiv, Western Lviv, Central Dnipro, Crimean Kherson. Besides that, there are military units subordinated directly to the main headquarters of the National Guard of Ukraine. They are operational units, nuclear power plants protection units, aviation unit, key infrastructure protection units, embassies and consulates protection units, the National Academy of the National Guard of Ukraine, NCO Training Center, International Training Center at Stare, Joint Communication Unit, support bases, military hospital, medical rehabilitation centers, publishing center, sports center. Composition of the National Guard of Ukraine in person according to the mission's performance is: operational units 26%, Special Operations Forces 2%, Public Order Protection Units 14%, Key Infrastructure and Special Cargoes Protection Units 9%, Prisoners Convoy Units 10%, Embassies and Consulates Protection Units 2%, Aviation Units 1%, National Academy Educational and Training Centers 6%, Command Bodies 14%, Support Units 16%. Today, the National Guard of Ukraine units are tasked with different missions, which are performed separately and jointly with other law enforcement and defense formations all over Ukraine. Its units are designed to fulfill the task related to protection and safeguarding the lives, rights, freedoms, and legitimate interests of citizens, society, and the state from criminal and other wrongful infringements, and also maintenance of public order and public security. Annually, the National Guard of Ukraine maintains public security during around 80,000 public events. NGU units also perform prisoners convoy and extradition missions. Besides that, last year Guardsmen took under the protection 118 courts and bodies of the legal system all over Ukraine. NGU servicemen use new uniform to perform public order protection mission, what allows them to be recognized on the streets and newly created vehicles for transportation, nutrition and command and communication organization. National Guard actively studies best international practices on public order protection, particularly on the mountain area. 2 joint projects with Romanian Gendarmerie resulted into the creation of Mountain Patrol Company. Besides that, new public order tactics and elements according to the best European practices are being studied and implemented. The National Guard personnel protect more than 100 embassies and consulates in Kiev, Lviv, Kharkiv and Odessa. Guardsmen secure governmental bodies and key infrastructure, which includes 5 electric power plants. Also, NGU servicemen protect nuclear installations, nuclear materials and radioactive waste and other sources of the ionizing radiation. Besides that, Guard performs missions during the emergencies and martial law. According to the law, Guardsmen participate in re-establishment of constitutional order in case of attempted seizure of power or violent transformation of a constitutional system, as well as the re-establishment of public authorities and local self-government activity are involved in emergency response, enforce martial law regime, related measures and conduct military action in case of armed conflict or threat to attack Ukraine, as well as territorial defense tasks. Depending on this, part of the NGU units becomes subordinated to the Ministry of Defense. Starting from the first days of the ATO on the east of Ukraine, NGU units actively perform a wide range of missions. Guardsmen liberated occupied Slavyansk, Popasna, Semenivka and other towns. Participated in the fights for Ilovaisk and Debaltseve, provided the defense of Mariupol and assault operation in Shirokino. Today, after being placed at the front line, Guardsmen continue to perform ATO isolation measures, protection and defense of key infrastructure, platoon and company-level defense positions. They also participated in counter-sabotage, counter-sniping and reconnaissance operations. Guardsmen support the governmental bodies and protect public order in urban areas that were part of the ATO. Unfortunately, more than 200 guardsmen were killed in action and 800 were wounded while operating in combat areas on the east of the country. Hundreds of guardsmen were awarded for their courage and honor in combat, a lot of them awarded posthumously. The highest award of a hero of Ukraine was posthumously presented to Major General Serhiy Kulchitsky, Lieutenant Bogdan Zavada, and Private Yevhen Tilnov. Colonel Alexander Radievsky was posthumously promoted to the rank of Major General. The ongoing combat actions forced us to be ready to confront the armed aggression from the part of Russia. Each operational territorial command has separate special purpose unit that is involved in conducting of special operations and countering terrorism. In addition, the creation of a Rapid Response Brigade has started in 2015. The organizational structure and command system of this unit are built according to the standards of military units of NATO member states. Today, almost all units of the NGU are equipped with modern armored vehicles, armored personnel carriers BTR-3 and BTR-4 of various modifications that are assigned for the transportation and fire support of personnel during the combat. Tank units are equipped with T-64 and T-72 tanks. Nowadays, each operational or special assignment unit is equipped with special armored vehicles Kazakh, Jaguar, Spartan, Shrek and Varta. In 2014, the supply of armored vehicles and equipment to military units was amount to 44% of the need. In total, during 4 years of the NGU existence, more than 360 new armored vehicles were purchased for the performing of various tasks, in particular in the ATO area. In order to improve the living conditions of the NGU warriors near the front line, mobile baths and laundry facilities were created on the basis of truck trailers. These complexes in the ATO zone allowed the soldiers to wash their clothes and take hot shower in comfortable conditions outside the permanent dislocation points. The original mobile printing lorry, which has been created on the basis of grass vehicle, is capable of providing moral and psychological support of the warriors in field and duplicate printed materials such as informational cards or newspapers. The mobile center of psychological support that has been created for comfortable work of psychologists outside the permanent dislocation points allows conducting professional psychological support of personnel while performing tasks in extreme conditions, restoration of psycho-emotional state of personnel after psychotraumatic situations, individual and group consultancy, and personal training directly in places of service. A significant role in the National Guard is devoted to education and training of servicemen and constant improvement of their skills. One of the leading military educational instructions in the country, the National Academy of the National Guard of Ukraine, conducts preparation of the future guardsmen officers. A specialized higher educational establishment with more than 85-year history and rich military traditions is located in the city of Kharkiv. One of these faculties is located in the capital city. Future officers major in command, logistics, technical, humanitarian, psychological and legal sciences. Due to this educational institution, annually about 300 cadets get a rank of officers and have the opportunity to expand their professional knowledge while studying at operational, tactical and strategic levels in the future. The National Guard of Ukraine pays attention to gender equality issues. Since 2013, female cadets have received the opportunity of studying in the academy. They have already filled the NGU officer corps. It should be noted that the National Guards has expanded the list of positions that can be occupied with women. Training of non-commissioned officers and instructors is carried out at the Training Center of National Guard of Ukraine located in Lviv region. Highly qualified specialists on the engineering and technical means of protection, radiochemical protection, kynologists, communications operators, engineers and drivers are trained here. Also, training is provided to future chief surgeons of units and instructors, using the standards of the military formation of NATO member states. The aggression from the Russian Federation, the use of hybrid means of method of warfare, the supply of the latest samples of military equipment and weapons forced us to change the approaches to training of personnel and units radically and to introduce the experience of military formations of the advanced world states. Since the creation of a modern National Guard of Ukraine, the training of personnel and the alignment of units have been aimed for participation in the anti-terrorist operation and combat operation. Of the units have been aimed for participation in the counter-terrorist operation and combat operation. Combat actions in the eastern part of Ukraine forced us to form operational units equipped with heavy armament. During 2014 and 2015, the relevant changes were made to the combat and special training programs of the NGU units. Training of a heavy armed vehicles crews of anti-tank missile system, air defense units has been initiated. Also, the significant changes to the NGU training system have been contributed during the Fearless Guardian 2015 joint Ukrainian-American exercise that has taken place in April through November 2015. These trainings were conducted under the guidance of instructors of the US Army in Europe. During the training period, 694 servicemen were trained in units, and for the first time 39 servicemen in the NGU were trained as individual training instructors. From 2016, the personnel and collective training of units have been separated. The instructors battalion have been formed in the NGU training center for the needs of National Guard of Ukraine. The reform of a professional sergeant corps has begun, and it is a significant component of the overall reform and of the National Guard professionalization. 2017, the International Interagency Multidisciplinary Center for Units Preparation was created in the Kiev region. Due to its infrastructure and capacity, NGU personnel, military units and central executive bodies are trained on its base for joint task performance, in particular for public order maintenance, countering terrorism, participation in international peacekeeping operations as a part of national personnel or national contingent. Every year, the National Guard of Ukraine increasingly expands its international cooperation. At the end of 2017, NGU received the status of a full member of the International Association of Gendarmerie and Police Forces with military status FIEP. This event has become a powerful impulse and a clear signal for the continuation of reforms in the structure and adaptation of a legislation base in accordance with the modern requirements. Also, the National Guard is actively working with similar military and law enforcement structures of foreign countries. The foreign partners of National Guard of Ukraine are the California National Guard, the Italian Carabinieri Army, the Gendarmerie of Romania, the National Gendarmerie of France, the Gendarmerie of the Turkish Republic, and the People's Armed Police of the People's Republic of China. Starting from 2018, National Guard of Ukraine has significantly increased its cooperation with the Canadian Armed Forces. After signing of a technical agreement with the Department of National Defence of Canada, Canadian instructors conducted a series of useful activities aimed at the non-commissioned officers training, NATO military decision-making process implementation, foreign languages learning and the development of leadership skills in the NGU. Advisor from Canadian Training Operation in Ukraine, Unifier, was embedded to the main headquarters of the National Guard of Ukraine for the coordination of the cooperation with the Canadian Armed Forces. During the 4 years of its existence, the National Guard of Ukraine has developed significantly. The appearance of a Guardian has changed. The quality and quantity of equipment and armament, communication facilities, and most importantly, the level of training of the NGU serviceman and understanding of his role in the overall security and defense sector of Ukraine has increased. The National Guard continues its development to become modern, mobile, combat-capable, and able to protect the Ukrainian people in any part of our country. The progress of the National Guard reformation was also noticed by Ukrainian society. According to results of the psychological observation, more than 52% of us citizens trust Guardsmen.